Everyone you know is celebrating. Have you noticed? The pivot party, the soft landing parade. They're popping champagne because they think Daddy Powell is about to cut interest rates and send the S&P 500 stratospheric, celestial, to the moon. They think a rate cut is the medicine. They think it's the cure. But let me ask you a question that might ruin your day and put hazard to your portfolio. What if the medicine is actually the poison? You've been lied to. You've been told that the Federal Reserve is the pilot of this plane, that they're at the steering wheel, that they can just, land this thing softly, nicely, accommodatingly. But what if I told you the pilot died an hour ago, the engines are on fire, and the only reason we haven't crashed yet is because we're still gliding on the momentum of a 40-year debt bubble? You take a breath. My name is Justin Banton, this is the House of Trade. Stop looking at the stock market. It's a hallucination. It's a simulacra. Today, we're going to be looking at the only thing that matters, the math. And the math is not mathing. It's absolutely terrifying. Let's play a game. It's called How to Bankrupt an Empire. Imagine you earn $100,000 a year. Not bad at all. But you spend $140K a year. You have a lifestyle problem, my friend. So you put an extra $40K on a credit card. No big deal, right? It's the American way after all. But now, let's imagine you've been doing this for decades. Your credit card balance is now $350K. And here's the kicker, the bank just raised your interest rates. Suddenly, just the interest rate payments on your account, on your car alone, are $30K a year. Not the principal, just the interest. You haven't bought any groceries yet. You haven't paid your rent yet. You haven't paid your Netflix subscription. You haven't sent a donation to the House of Trade of Justin Banton. No, I'm joking. You've just paid $30K to the bank just to keep them off your back and keep them from breaking your legs, Tony Montana Soprano style. So what do you do? What do? You don't have the cash, obviously. So you take out another credit card to pay the interest on the first credit card. Now, this sounds like a nightmare, but it's not hypothetical. This is the United States government right now. They are borrowing money to pay the interest on the money that they already borrowed. In finance, I don't know about you, but I heard that's called a Ponzi scheme. In Washington, they call it fiscal policy, monetary policy. And this brings us to the trap. The Fed thinks they can cut rates to help you buy a house, but I'm going to show you why cutting rates might actually blow up the treasury market and dissolve your savings in real time, expeditiously, and with incredible prejudice. Look at the charts. Burn them into your retinas. The red line is what we spend on US military, aircraft carriers, fighter jets, roughly $850 billion. The green line, that's the interest on the national debt. Do you notice anything funny? Yes, you're right. The green line just crossed the red line. They are now spending more on the past mistakes than they are on the future security of the nation. Every single day, the US government spends $3 billion just on interest. Do you realize how insane that is? That's $2 million per minute. By the time this video finishes, and if you're still with me, the US taxpayer would have torched another $26 million. Snap, another million. Snap, another million. Oh, there goes another million. Now, here is the setup for the disaster, if this wasn't disastrous enough. Why did this happen? Because the Fed raised rates to 5% to raise inflation, to fight inflation. When rates are 5%, the government has to pay 5% on all of its new debt. It's just basic math, that's how it works, right? So the market is screaming, Fed, please cut the rates. That's why Donald Trump is so vociferous about cutting rates, and Besson, and now Hessent. These guys all, their names wrong, I don't know why. If the Fed cuts rates back to 2%, the interest rate bill goes down. The government is saved. The stock market rallies, right? Am I right? Can I get an amen? Wrong. This is where 99% of you financial YouTubers get it wrong. And this is where things really get dark. I want to introduce you to the concept that they don't teach you in school or on these other YouTube channels. It's called Fiscal Dominance. It sounds like a bad BDSM movie, but honestly, it kind of feels like one, to be honest, when I think about it, what's going on with the action, the rearguard actions, right? Fiscal dominance is the moment when the central bank truly loses control. Normally, In good times, the Fed fights inflation by just raising rates, right? But when the debt is this high, 35 trillion and counting, raising rates increases the deficit so much that the government has to print more money just to pay the interest. That's sounding like Banana Republic, Zimbabwe, Asian economy in the doldrums, emerging out of like the 15th century. That's mad, right? Do you see the loop? It's a death spiral. If they raise rates to fight inflation, they bankrupt the government. If they cut rates to save the government, they unleash inflation. They are trapped in a room with no doors and the water is seriously rising. This is the forbidden knowledge. The Fed isn't cutting rates because they conquered inflation. They are going to cut rates because something in the system is about to break. They aren't pivoting because they want to. They are pivoting because the math has a gun to their head. Let me make this a bit more personal for you. Who pays for all of these shenanigans? Who pays for all of this largesse? It's not the government, my friend. They just print the difference. Not the rich. They own the assets, the stocks, the gold, the real estates. They go up when the printer goes. Who pays? You do. I do. If you are sitting there with money in a savings account thinking you are safe because you have FDIC insurance or the equivalent in the UK, you are the exit liquidity, my friend. I hate to tell you. I'm one of them too. We are the suckers at the poker table unless we seriously start to get assiduous with how we allocate our capital. There is a huge wealth transfer happening right now. It's a silent theft. Every time they print money to service this debt spiral, they are diluting your labor, diluting your time, stealing from your family, stealing from your future. There is a war going on between asset holders and currency savers. If you believe the government can fix this, drop a comment below right now saying, soft landing, I believe. No. If you think the math is undefeated, comment hard landing. Hard landing right now, I see through the miasma that is the economy and that is monetary policy. Let's see who's actually paying attention and let's see who's actually swimming butt naked when the tide goes out. Because you know what? The boomers had cheap debt and high growth. You have record debt and stagnant wages now. The Fed's trap is actually a trap for you, unless you know how to step out of the way. So let's go back to the title of this video. Why won't rate cuts save us this time? I'm not one of those YouTubers who just do it for the clickbait, even though I only get 17 views per video. It's nothing personal. Here is the mechanism that nobody is discussing. The bond vigilantes. And those people who tell you they don't exist don't know what's going on. The Fed controls short-term rates, the short end of the curve, the near end of the curve, money-like instruments. They don't control long-term rates. So, what does that mean? If the Fed cuts rates while inflation is still sticky, which, let's be honest, it is, right? The bond market is going to smell blood in the water. Investors will say, wait, what? You're cutting rates? Inflation is going to come back, obviously. And what will people do? They're going to sell those long-term bonds without any reservation. And when people sell bonds, what happens? That's right, yields go up. So we could end up in a nightmare scenario. The Fed cuts rates to 3%, but the mortgage rates, which track the long bond obviously, goes to 8%. The worst of both worlds, high inflation and high borrowing costs, stagflation on steroids, or on Donald Trump's hemorrhagic bum cream. I didn't know where that came from. I'm sorry. The Fed pulls the lever, back to the point, but the machine doesn't respond. That is the definition of being trapped. The math doesn't care about your political party. It doesn't care about your feelings. The debt spiral is a mathematical reality, an inevitability. Exponential growth in debt cannot exist in a finite economy forever. We are nearing the end of the long-term debt cycle. We are reaching the event horizon where spaghettification really does happen. And the Fed will cut. They really will. They have to. There's no prevarication about it or equivocation. They will choose inflation over default every single time. They will sacrifice you and the dollar and me to save the system. So what do you do in this situation? Panic! No, you don't panic. You position yourself. You become your own central bank. If cash is trash, you own the things that can't be printed. In the next videos, and in my previous ones, I'm going to show you specific chart signals, exactly when to exit the dollar and go all in on hard assets. I mean, If you don't know, right, if you're not doing it already, you're probably too late, to be honest. It's flashing yellow right now because the system is broken. Don't let it break you too. I'll see you in the comments. Class dismissed for today. Market closed. Stay safe out there. Ciao for now.